So I know you've got a limited amount of time today. You've got some stuff going on. So I want to dive right into this. And I want to make sure that with all this, everything's working. There we go. So first and foremost, man, how are you doing? I know, especially with you and what you do, like this has impacted you, not on the radio side as much, I would think, but maybe on the live performance side. Like this has impacted you pretty heavily, right?
Well, I mean, yes and no. My main job is with SiriusXM, and I've been there almost 20 years, and I'm on the radio from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Monday through Friday, liquid metal and Octane. So that hasn't skipped a beat. I've been on the air every day. Nothing. The only day we had off was when there was like that shutout where, you know, a lot of the industry didn't do stuff on a Tuesday a couple of weeks ago for
Yep.
you know, Black Lives Matter, police brutality, and that was like the only day that I wasn't on the radio. So that part of it's been very consistent, even actually got crazier. I know you're a huge fan of Metallica, Russell, and that was like I was in charge of the mandatory Metallica channel that we had at SiriusXM. So
yeah,
that took a good month or so to build, to make into a strong beast. And all that happened because we wanted to provide comfort food for listeners, you know, across North America. And so what better comfort food than Metallica? There isn't any.
Not really, no.
Yeah, so when this pandemic started, dude, you know, it was like right away we got into building this Metallica channel. So it was really, it made me even busier. But then as far as, like you said, the live music side, yeah, dude, I get to travel and host and MC and do really cool things with partners at these Danny Wimmer Presents festivals. And the ones that are in May, I've been going to, I mean, God, I don't even know how many years in a row. Yep. May was always just busy. I was gone. And this is my first time being home for Mother's Day, you know, on a Sunday.
Awesome.
Yeah, dude, that Mother's Day has always been on a festival Sunday, you know, so I haven't been home so it was actually really nice, but at the same time, you know, yeah, I mean, financial opportunities, didn't happen because of certain things. So, but like everybody else, man, it's affected all of us in some way. But I try to provide an outlet for positivity, for just getting into the music, and that's what I like to do, you know, despite everything. So at one point I knew that I was talking to more people at their homes than in their cars, and normally I'm talking to people in their cars. Yep. So a lot of shit changed, but at the same time I knew that I had a big responsibility to remain this a sense of normalcy for people, subscribers, fans, listening. So it was like me coming on the radio every day was like, okay, shit's still normal. You know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, so I heard that, and I felt that, and I saw comments and texts and phone calls and, you know, people telling me these type of things. So it's like, okay, cool. Like I know what my responsibility is.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I noticed today, actually, looking around it. 3 years ago today, I was in Dallas for a Metallica show. And like all these things coming up, I look back at shows, and the last show I went to up here in the Bay was Kiss, cool. Over at Oracle. But like it feels like forever ago. It feels like it was so long ago. And thankfully, you know, we do have that normalcy. We do have those people that are there, that are part of our lives, whether we realize it or not, that are still kind of keeping things going and kind of keeping us normalized internally. And with you specifically, like, you know, metal it's an interesting character. Like, the scene is full of a lot of different people, you know, a lot of different vibes going every which way. And you're always the most positive motherfucker in the world. Like, I never see you at a show without a smile on your face and just pushing it. And at the same time, I've seen you work, and I've never seen somebody work harder. You know, I could say the road crew, guys like that, but man, I've seen you work, and you bust your ass every time you're out there just to create that vibe. Like, does it ever, I mean, are you just I know you've worked hard to get there, but are you the luckiest fan in the world? Because I've always said, like, you're a fan and the ambassador. Like, that's what makes you so good.
Russell, thank you for all the kind words, and you actually you said it very well. I am a fan. I am the luckiest fan. I'm a blessed fan, and I know that I have, that I can do cool things. And I am positive from the inside, from the gut core out, because I love what I'm doing, dude. I could never believe that I'd be this metal ambassador when I was in high school and in college, and even later. Even in the beginning of satellite radio, like I just loved it so much. I didn't care what happened. I didn't do it for money. I didn't do it for glory or fame or any of that stuff. Like I did it because it was pure. And then that over all these years starts to build up, and it's just like, and then it starts to pay off, and it's just like, whoa, what happened? Like, I'm just being so true to being a fan and being aware of that. Humble, hungry, always the hardest worker in the room. That's Rock, Dwayne Johnson, man. That's my favorite quote that I love to live by. But you even said that in what you were saying, like, hardest worker in the room, dude. For me, like, somebody's firing fireworks nearby here. For me, man, it is. I live by that stuff. I know I'm the luckiest fan. So be humble always. I don't think of myself in any sort of a way other than a massive fan. So be humble always. Grateful and humble. Be humble. Be hungry. Always look. What else can I do for my family? I have 2 teenage daughters, a wife. As you can imagine, they're expensive. But no, they're awesome. But I need to bust my ass. I want to take care of them, man.
Yep.
And so for me, I have to keep working. I have to keep wanting to do more. And so that's that. Keep building and building and building. And then the hardest worker in the room is just simple. You come into a room, you work your ass off. And then if there's some other dude or chick or whatever, and they're working their ass off, what do you then you guys are working each other, like you guys are going to work harder and work harder, and then you're going to lift each other up. And if other people in the room are doing the same thing, then everybody's going to step up onto different levels and kick ass. And so that's those 3 things. In anything you do, if those 3 things are what you live by, and that's what I live by, then done, dude. And so, and plus, dude, just, I met my wife because of heavy metal. I got this job because of heavy metal. I have daughters because of heavy metal. You know what I'm saying? Like, my idols are my friends because of heavy metal. So for me, it's just, dude, I wake up and I'm like, fuck, I get to talk about metal today,
Right?
So, yeah, and I love beer, tequila, and weed, and being an awesome dad and a role model, So yeah, dude, it's all that stuff. So I'm just happy, dude. I realize how lucky I am. But I know it, and I cherish that, and I know that I have a responsibility and a weight on my shoulders, especially being a Latino in this position. I want to represent fully, man, for the Latinos, because I know how big Latinos are massive fans of metal. Yeah.
What was the title? The Satanic Hispanic. I've seen that one floating around a lot too.
Yeah, I love using that on the display screens for SiriusXM. But my friend Tony Campos, he's the bass player from Static X, and he was in Fear Factory, Soulfly. He's in Assassino now. He actually coined that term, at least from my experience and my knowledge. And so I took it from him, and then he said, "Go ahead and use it." So I was like, "Well, we can both be Satanic Hispanics," and he was like, "All right." So,
that's fucking great.
Yeah, he's really cool. I love Tony.
Well, that's one of the things. The reason I wanted to bring that up for sure is a lot of people see you, and when we see you in 2 different ways. Typically, right? We see you and hear you on SiriusXM, on Liquid Metal, on Octane, sometimes on Ozzy's Boneyard as well. And then we see you up on stages, emceeing shows and getting to announce shows, which is always the coolest thing. But, like, I feel like a lot of people don't know everything that you do behind the scenes. And, man, you have, like, I don't know how you do all this in a family and have a family. Like, so you DJ Octane, you DJ Liquid Metal, you appear on Ozzy's Boneyard. And correct me if any of these are wrong, I think they're right. You're the director of artist relations for Affliction. You host events out the ass. We know that. You're sponsored by Modelo, which as we see you're very, very much loyal. You've done guest vocals and appearances. You've hopped up on stage and performed with some really awesome bands, like Dime Bash. Oh my God, you killed it at that.
Thank you,
and on top of that, you're a co-owner of, I want to try to say this correctly. Riazul?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, you got it.
Riazul Premium Tequila. And you have an amazing wife and 2 kids. Like, I don't get how you do all that.
I can tell you right now. As soon as you started talking about this and you were telling the story, I was like, I know what the answer is to this future question. Dude, I make it all one. I make it all one thing. I don't separate it. I stop separating work, life, family, responsibilities, other projects, to help the family. I stopped making them into different compartments, and I just made it into one big room. And it made it easier to make it all happen and happen organically. Like, I'm here in my kitchen, in the TV room, the couch is right here, TV's right here. So I'm around. I just want it to be authentic. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't separate it. I just do everything as it is. And when I'm away and traveling, that's different. But at the same time, even when I'm traveling and doing my radio show and interviewing and hosting and backstage sessions and all these other things and being someone that connects to fans too. I love talking to people when they come up to me at festivals and shows, and I love taking selfies and hanging out and smoking a joint or drinking a beer. I love that stuff. And so that, but I don't separate anything. You know what I'm saying? Like my what I do on the radio and everything, all this stuff, it's just life. It's just regular breathing and talking, and it's not like, okay, I'm going to work or I'm in work mode. Like, dude, I'm just always doing this shit. So I think I just, but it is like my family, everybody's just so used to it, and I involve them and I want them to be, and I force them to be on the radio, so that people can hear how mad they are to be on the air with me. And I'm like, is this torture that for you to say hi? Like, is it really that bad? And I just always compare, like, do you want me to be like the dad from It? You know what I'm saying? Some psycho, horrible dad? Or do you want me to be an awesome, fun, cool dad? Just come over here and talk to me on the radio. So I just try to make it all one, and again, just give the same amount of love to all of them as well, man. And again, I see my daughters and my wife, and I'm just like, wow, like, I gotta work my ass off, but like, wow. But then I also I realize just how, blessed I am, man. So it's crazy.
Well, that's always one of those things. Is I think you can look at you and say, you are lucky as hell. You are absolutely the luckiest fan in the world. But you've worked your ass off to keep it there, and that's all an important distinction on top of it. Like, right place, right time, right opportunities. That's one aspect. And go ahead, you got something.
No, I was just gonna say, and it's a big point that I love to make as well. Like, it just wasn't being this metal guy. Like, that's not what got me here. I went to school. I went to University of Arizona chemistry major, and that's where I started college radio. And then I went to graduate school in Tennessee, Memphis, University of Tennessee, to be a pharmacist. So I went to school to be a doctor of pharmacy, and so, and that kind of training, that's what led me to all the different steps that I had. If it wasn't for me pursuing that higher education and then graduate school and then moving to Tennessee out of like all the schools in the world, but they had a great rock station there in Memphis, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to go to that school, because like maybe I can work at that FM rock station, which I ended up getting a job at. That's where I got a medal show, and that's where I won a medal award of the year in a trade magazine. And then I got offers to work in the industry, and I took a job at TVT Records, and then a few months later I started working at SiriusXM satellite radio in September of 2000. So almost 20 years ago is when I started at Sirius. So, but people say, hey, you know, I want to do what you do, and I want to do that, and it's like, and that's so cool. But dude, I'm a nerd. Like, I got awesome grades and amazing grades, and teachers couldn't believe it. You know, I was a stoner, long hair, metalhead, you know, Mexican dude. They were like, this dude's, yeah, right. But then I'm sitting in the front row, and I'm always interacting with the teacher, with the professor, and I'm correcting his equations on the board. You know, yeah. But that's what gave me my public skills, to be able to go up in front of a chemistry lecture classroom of 100+ students at the U of A in Tucson, and then just talk and be like, yeah, but what about this? And he's like, well, what about you? This, what about this, smart ass? And he was an old professor, but he would say that stuff to me, you know. And I'd have my Metallica shirt on, you know, and people are like, yeah, right. But then I'd get up there and do all this shit. People are like, oh shit, you know. But so that's, dude. I feel like if it wasn't for my education, Russell, I would never be in this situation today, dude. Here on your podcast, here with my wife Melissa, you know, being a medal ambassador. My schooling was everything. And again, it wasn't for communications, it wasn't journalism, it wasn't none of that. It was science, dude. It was chemistry. And so that's a really important point that I want people to know.
Our buddy Borden says, I could see the pharmacy background coming in handy for all those metal show hangovers. And I'm kind of like, yeah, I feel you, man.
Oh, man. The hangover, just drink 100% agave tequila and a lot of water. I mean, and you're good. You're good. There's no science. It's easy.
It's easy, and it's more fun that way.
You know what? And too, Russell, and I'll say something too. I never was a pill dude. Like, I barely take Advils, man. Like, yep. You know, people, when I say I was going to be a pharmacist, they're like, oh yeah, rock and roll, drugs, I get it. Yeah. I'm like, no, like nothing. I'm a huge marijuana fan. And that's it. And that's what I've always been super supportive of the cannabis plant. But people were like, oh, I get it, Jose, pills. And I was like, dude, no, never. I stayed away from that stuff because I knew that I wanted to be a pharmacist. So,
well, yeah. You've always, I mean, as far as I've known, you've always just been a drinker. Go out, party, drink and smoke your stuff.
Yeah. I love cervezas. I love tequila, spicy jalapeno margaritas. I love water. You know, I love
metal
coffee.
Mimosas.
You know, so for sure, man. So yeah, man, that's what I always just try to keep it real natural. But yeah, I love, you know, and again, having a beer with some fan in Sacramento at Aftershock, you know, and there's a group of us and we're smoking weed and drinking together. That's some really cool shit that I really want to get back to.
Yeah. So our buddy Tone, and you know Tone, we'll have a couple folks that we both know popping in here, I think. Tone from Damage Inc. Wants me to ask you what your mom's first metal show was.
Yeah.
Is there a reason he wants me to ask you that?
Yeah, that's so cool. Actually, that's awesome, man. My mom passed away like 3 years ago in 3 years in April, but her last and only metal show was Damage Inc. at the Orange County Fair. We live right next to the fairgrounds, and we walked to it. Remember, Faye? We walked to it, and it took her forever to walk. She was such like an older lady, and she could barely get there. And everybody was like, "Why did we walk?" I remember everybody being mad at me because we walked, but we got there, and then we were in the back, and I was so excited to see them and to be there with my mom, and we got up like near the barricade towards the back, and she was there, and she was like, oh yeah, like this is good. And at one point I got her to make the horns and stuff, and my friend Sonny took a picture of that, and that was pretty cool, man. So yeah, that's funny that it was his band.
Yep. Yeah. And he was stoked as hell when I told him that you were going to be on here. He was like, "Man, I miss Jose. He never gets to see you."
Dude, I want Damage Inc. to play one of my taco metal parties, man. That's been something that I've been wanting to happen forever, man. So it will happen for sure.
We'll make that shit work out. Maybe I can come down and interview you and them at it too.
Yeah, that'd be great. You're an open invite, Russell. But yeah, I'd love to have Damage Inc. Dude, they're such a kick-ass Metallica cover band. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen. Trying to think. I don't think I've ever seen an all Metallica cover band ever before. I've seen a lot of covers, but not a whole cover band. I'm trying to think, man. I don't think so. But Damage Inc., dude, I've seen them a few times and just so impressed. I mean, beyond impressed.
Yeah, they bring it. They bring it.
Oh my God, I know. They're the best. They're the best. They're the best in the world. They're the best in the world.
I agree. Access TV agrees with us too.
Well, but that's what it is. It's hard because they're so good now. Like my taco metal party, they're like, "Well, how much you gonna pay us?" So they actually price themselves out, man.
Oh. Well, how many tribute bands? Man. How many tribute bands actually get to tour? Like that's the thing is they go out to Georgia and shit now. Like it's insane. But they're that good.
I know. That's why they haven't played my party yet, because I think they need some more cash, man.
Are you saying they're too big for you now?
Yeah, I think they are. They're like, Jose, whatever, we don't have time for that.
If you'll play us, we'll show up.
Yeah, dude, we have played Damage Inc. I know on the corridor of covers. I want to say we have. I think we have, but I'm pretty sure we have.
So that actually segues into another good question. I was reading up on a lot of interviews and a lot of things that you've done because I always try to find questions that people aren't asking. You know what I mean? Something different. And one of the things that, because I've known you for several years now. I've known you for, 7 years, actually, now that I think about it. One of the things a lot of people find out when we'll see you and I'll be like, yeah, I love him. He's my boy. They'll be like, ooh, can you get me on the radio? And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. So something that I want to bring up to you, because you are so open with fans and available and shit like that, is like, is there a process? Is there just like, how do you pick and choose? And is there a process people can jump into to try to get that exposure?
Man, dude, I wish there was an easy answer, or even just like a yes, send all things to this. Don't have anything like that. We play independent bands. There is no protocol. There is no formula. There is nothing that I need to follow in order to play something on Liquid Metal. If it's good and awesome, I'll play it. Is there a lot of good and awesome bands and songs out there that I don't play? There's a ton. Nope. And so I can only, just because it's not, again, there's no rules, but I know I want to play more library, and that means older songs, stuff that's gonna really resonate with us, like Slayer and Metallica and Pantera and Lamb of God and Slipknot and Megadeth and Testament and Meshuggah and all these great bands, Gojira, Hatebreed, So I got to make sure that there's that. And then in between, I introduced new stuff too. So can that be a huge category? If that was so huge, we're 24/7, all right? We're not just an hour-long show or a playlist, or we're every day. It's different. It's 24 hours live programming every single day, and only specialty shows replay, and those are only an hour long or less. And those are like the specialty things that we have, but nothing replays. It's all like analytically programmed. I go through every hour, I massage them, and getting your question is getting things added. Yeah, man, it's by recommendations from friends. It's seeing bands live when they open up for bigger bands, and I'll be there for the other bands, but I want to see these young bands, or maybe it's an accident. And then I've discovered a lot of bands like that. I'm like, oh my God, dude, I gotta play you. Do you guys have something? And they'll give me something. So that's happened hundreds and hundreds of times. So Yeah, friends, if some, musician friend of mine be like, hey, dude, check this band out, they're friends of mine. And even then, I don't always play them, even if it's a friend's band or a friend's friend band, or, I can't, because I only try to play, a representation. I don't, not all things new. There's no way. And if I was playing nothing but new independent bands, local bands, dude, nobody would listen. If I was,
you're right.
If I was just playing local, people would. If I was doing a spotlight on DC, they would listen to that, 30-minute show or something. But then that's it. But we try to the way we help break bands is by getting them on somehow, whatever that is. I've added bands through Twitter. People have said, hey, dude, check out this link. And I'm like, or maybe not even check out this. I'm just following people and they post something and I'll look, and then I'll be like, oh shit. And then I'll just email the band. And then the band was like, oh my God, dude, yeah, Jose here. So I've done that a bunch of times. So, but getting these bands on is huge. Giving them, some bands exposure, not all, some bands. But when I'm playing Slayer and then I play something brand new and then I play like Lamb of God, like that thing in the middle sounds really cool, in between those two awesome songs from those bands. So it's like, we can imagine if it was just all unsigned bands, it would just be like, oh, I don't know how many people, but that Slayer song and then that new song and then that Lamb of God song, it's like, oh yeah, oh, I like that band. So there is a science too behind it, and I do want to sandwich some of these emerging bands in there, but dude, we do take a chance, and a lot of times I like bands and I play them, but then nobody cares. I look at numbers, I look at streaming numbers, because that's all we really have, sales or nothing, but I look at streaming numbers and I'm like, man, I've played this song, 20 times a week, and nobody even cares to look it up on and listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then it's like, man, I like the song, but at a certain point, I stop playing it. So a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll get some bands that, get a shot, and I'll play them 100 times. That song, and then if 120, if I don't see anything or nothing's just happening and it's just like nobody cares, it's just like, well, I gave them a shot, now I have to move on. And then I get and then I keep cycling, and then the strong ones stay longer, the other ones rotate a little and then they go away, and then new ones come up and they're in between, and then all the big catalog strong shit is really the center core of the channel, like the nucleus, like the spinal cord, right, of the channel is Slayer and Metallica and Pantera, and Sepultura and stuff like that. So and that's really what you and I would listen to. If we were listening to a metal station, for me, liquid metal is my personal little baby. So when I turn that on, it's just like every song is a banger in my head because I love it, so much, and I forget that I'm actually programming it and in charge of it, because I'm just a fan and I zone out. And then I'm listening, I'm like, they put, and I was like, oh yeah, I put this song next to that song on purpose, because if somebody knew that the guitar player from this band is the same guitar player from this other band, and you may not know it because there's no host on at that time, but if you're a fan and you're like, oh, that's cool.
Especially in metal, it takes a big understanding of how close knit the metal community is to really curate in that way.
But I also know that most of our listeners are not die-hard, super 99% of their life metal. They're metal, they drive to work, they listen to it for 20-30 minutes, and then 20-30 minutes back home, and they love it, and they go to a festival once a year, and that's awesome. But I know that I'm talking to that dude for the most part, and I'm not talking to some crazy metal nerd that knows every little detail of anything. So, and what I get in trouble with from my supervisors over the years is that I'm too much into it, and I'm too much of a fan, and I'm too nerdy, and I just feel like, oh yeah, everybody knows that. And then my boss would be like, dude, nobody knows that. Like, you know that. And like 0.001% knows that, dude. So Jose, stop thinking that everybody knows everything. And so that's been difficult over the years, trying to separate just being such a nerd and then programming in nerd mode. But then I would lose a lot of people too.
Yeah. So I wanna get to questions real quick because I know you've got to run pretty quickly here. We do have a couple.
As soon as the doorbell rings, you know, I mean, yeah. But so far, no one's here yet.
Hey, you know what? He can take his time. It's all good. So Todd Sukup, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, wants to know if you've heard of Dissident, I Am the Shotgun, Sark Optic, or Left to Suffer yet.
Are those? Oh my God!
I'm assuming they're bands.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard their music. I think I've recognized a few of the names from like emails and press emails. I get a lot of stuff, man, sent to me. Yeah. It's an insane amount, dude. If I would just listen to every link that I'm sent and download everything and do it would just, I wouldn't live. I wouldn't have time to go to the bathroom. I wouldn't have time to be a dad and do all these, things. So it is hard. But no, I don't think I know we're not playing those bands. But again, see I am so aware that I'm not playing a lot of shit. I'm fully aware that there's a lot of stuff that I want to get to, and I want to get to it. And I definitely would like to showcase some of these things. And but I don't recognize some of those bands.
Well, and what's cool is I think we've gone more, at least I haven't heard it, we've gone really in depth into your selection process, and that's something we haven't heard a lot because I feel like people don't really ask about it, like
it's I know I do get asked that just mostly in person, when I'm at shows, at festivals, people load me up with demos and CDs, and that's another way that people have given me music. Obviously, it's just in person, knowing that I'm at an event. So that's another thing that I've gotten before. But it is a difficult thing to get. There's so much music out there, and we're a coffee filter. We get to as much as we can, but there's definitely some stuff that's falls through the cracks. All right, what else you got, Russell?
Joe Alfano wants to know if you have any favorite unsigned bands right now.
I love Joe, man. Okay. Where's Mom? Hey, hold on, Russell. What?
Do your thing, man.
Oh yeah. Just okay, just let her in. Yeah.
Is that your guest we've been waiting on?
Yeah. Favorite. I love. Man, there's a bunch of cool bands, dude. What, unsigned bands that you said? Was that the question?
Unsigned, yeah.
Yeah, I love Tetrock is a really great band that we're playing on Liquid Metal and Octane. Hello, Robin. Hi. I'm just finishing up an interview here. Thank you. So I would say, dude, there's a lot, dude. There's a bunch on Octane that we're playing as well too. Octane is really cool launching pad for a lot of awesome sounding like melodic hard rock bands and stuff like that. There's some really cool bands like Saul's a band that we've been playing a lot unsigned, getting a lot of attention from that band. But what the cool thing is we do break a lot of bands, and the airplay on Liquid Metal and Octane really helps other programmers in radio, people that are signing bands to labels. They listen to our stations for the next bands to sign. So that's always been a really awesome, amazing thing to see.
Yep. And so 2 quick things. One, our buddy Dylan from Tornadic says thanks for choosing them to play. And Dylan's great. His dad Thomas is fantastic.
Yeah, dude, that's another. We play them on Liquid Metal. Tornadic are so great. 13, 14-year-old young Jedi metal masters.
Yes.
Their dads are so cool. Their families are so supportive. Man, that's what I love, to see the dads and the parents and the family supporting these thrashing kids that are just so talented, man. Yeah, Dylan is at the festivals, the cruises with his dad. They're everywhere. He's in the pit. He's on the stage. That's the kind of thing, dude. Like if you want to be a band and it's a successful band that gets noticed, you know what Dylan is doing. He's 14 years old, man. And
dude, he can run a stage, man.
Yeah, and he can shred and sing, but he supports the scene. And he supports everything that the scene and the community and the lifestyle has to offer. Wears his metal vest, you know, him and his dad. Dude, that's so cool, man. I get mad at my daughters because I'm like, man, you know, why can't she wear a metal vest with me and go to a show with me, man?
My daughter won't do it either, so you're not the only one.
Yeah.
All right, last question, and I'm going to get you out of here because I know you've got to run. And it's probably a funny one. Sonny Gillian, Gillen.
I love my boy Sonny.
Said to ask you about your painted nails.
Okay, let me tell you. Hold on, I'm just texting my wife. It's not painted nails. It's just my horn fingers.
Oh.
And so... See, so it's not on anything else. It's just my horns. And Melissa was painting hers, and then she was like, I'm gonna paint yours. So then I was like, no. And I was like, all right, we'll just do my horn fingers. And so that's what she did. If we were watching TV and she did that, this is not a new thing. This is just okay. I totally forgot that I have this on there.
It's a metal hat. It's what it is. That's all it is.
But if you see too, like my fingers are weighted down, like my horn fingers, you know, so I can throw them easier.
Yep, that's true. That's true.
And these are just bold horns. That's all it is. Bold function
over fashion, right?
Yeah, there you go.
All right, man. Thank you so much for being here.
No problem,
I know you've got to run, man. I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Thank you very much, dude. I enjoyed this podcast and hanging with you, man. I look forward to hanging with you in person, brother.
Yes, sir, man. I'll see you as soon as I can, brother. Take it easy.
All right, cool, man. Thanks, Russell.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much to Jose. That was an absolute blast. We're going to wrap up here. It was a little shorter. He had some things he had to get done. I do want to make a quick note. We've grown drastically over the last 4 and I guess a half episodes. Follower counts are going up, but at this point we're on a really big upward trend and I want to keep that going. So smash the like button, leave the comments, like us on Facebook, do all the fun things. We're going to keep getting bigger and better guests. I don't know how you get bigger than the guy that is the door to most metal that we listen to now, but we're going to work on it. And we'll be announcing our next guest very soon. We're also on Patreon. We'll be working on getting some great rewards up for our Patreon subscribers. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the next one.